Hello everyone, Edwin Learnard here. In this YouTube segment, what I wanted to do was talk about something called the contributor. And the contributor is a Nashville-based homeless paper, and it's a street paper as well. It began in 2007, and its first issue came out in November of that same year. At that time, the circulation was approximately 800 copies. It expanded its publication to 2 times a month in March of 2012. And in this year, in 2014, in April, it's going to expand to weekly, and it's going to raise the price. The price will be increased from $1 a paper to $2 a paper. Vendors currently spend 25 cents on an issue, and they sell it for $1. Of course, that price is going to increase for vendors as well to 75 cents in April, and will be sold for the $2. Now, this is a paper that began, as I stated previously, in 2007, and obviously, a very modest number of vendors and workers, and it has escalated to the highest, I guess you could say, as far as publication goes, as far as a street homeless newspaper, having the greatest publication, the circulation at over 100,000 a month, and it is the highest, largest circulating homeless street paper in North America right now. So it has escalated very, to great levels, and I'm sure really superseded what, maybe was originally anticipated for the paper when it first began in its early roots. And the paper is sold in the Nashville area by many people that are, that are currently homeless. There's a lot of people out there selling that were previously homeless as well. And it has reached to about approximately 400 vendors right now, and its rate of, I guess you could say, getting people out of their homeless plight or predicament is very, the percentage is very significant, and it's a very good percentage. I believe it's about 50% now, the rate. And this is a paper that has given many people reason for hope to extricate themselves out of an impoverished situation, getting out of oppression, removing themselves maybe, not necessarily always out of a homeless plight, but out of maybe a situation where they're in confines that aren't really, that hospitable, and might be able to increase this person's way of living. Some people sell the paper for full-time income. Other people, like myself, I sell sporadically. Basically, right now I'm selling them to friends, acquaintances, and I am, a vendor. And my name, as most of you know, is Edwin Learnard. I'm also the sports writer for the paper, and have been doing so since like August of 2009. And still the sports writer there, and I'm also a vendor as well. And during a period when I was homeless, it did help me, get money for, I guess you could say, like food and some subsistence necessities. I wasn't making enough to, to rent any place out or anything, but it did give me enough for my food and hygiene greatly during that the period that I did get a good spot for myself. And it's helped many others as well, and I'm sure it will help innumerable, amount of people in years to come. Now, this is something where, some people look at it, sometimes people will say, like when I had actually been selling at a spot, you'd hear derogatory things like, get a job. And, the reality is that this is a job, selling this paper, because when, somebody going, door to door, selling some renowned paper, like the New York Times, for example, or something that has, I guess you could say, maybe somewhat more prestige or recognition. That's perceived as a job. Now, I don't understand how, selling a paper where you're giving something to the community and getting something back, why that's not perceived as a job by some people, but I know that it is, because selling a paper on the street, in my mind, I don't see the main difference between that and being a telemarketer and selling a paper in that method or manner, or going door to door and trying to get subscriptions for a newspaper such as the Tennessean. So with me, I see that as a job, and it's not panhandling, because in this case we are offering something in return for the money that is received. Now, vendors do receive tips for paper. The paper is sold for $1, but when I was selling it at a spot, I was averaging probably about $2 per paper. And sometimes, on occasion, the person would give me the money and not ask for anything. As far as the paper goes, they might say they had it, they already had a copy or what have you, whatever the reason might be. But that is not on the vendor. That's their prerogative if that's what they choose to do. And this is something that gives people hope, to get them out of an oppression, penurious situation. And for me, I don't see, where there's anything wrong with that. And people that sell this paper, that is they're doing something good. They're doing something positive for the community, for themselves. It enhances community interaction with others. It gets a chance for people to be outside and to maybe perhaps earn their way out of a possible homeless plight or situation. And really, that is I think that and that is really very important for people to realize that. And this is something where it has escalated further than perhaps I even thought it would go. I mean, it's at a current circulation of over 100,000 a month, and it went from its beginnings from about 800 copies. So it kind of reminds me of that old Virginia Slim slogan or motto, "You've come a long way, baby." Well, I believe it applies to the contributor big time. And anyway, that's really about it, what I wanted to say. And again, my name is Edwin Learnard, and I am a vendor and sports writer for the contributor, sometimes referred to as the Nashville contributor. And until next time, people, stay well.